what's up? Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good?
There you have that. U.S. housing enters a deep freeze with sellers and buyers sidelined. How can you tell when the housing market has begun to hit its peak?
Oh, this is one of my favorites. So it's a two-part formula. So number one, write this down. There's a company, a ticker, MSCI. So it's M&I Homes. But if you go to macrotrends.net, which is becoming like one of my favorite sites. No, I don't own any shares in it. No joint ventures, no partnerships with them. But if you look at their housing historical chart, you literally can see in real time the price action on the housing market. Homework assignment number 3. I want you guys to map out the Fibonacci levels for the housing market over the last 50 years and point out the 3 places where it tells you when the market is going to take a downturn. I know a lot of people were fighting me. I remember maybe a year and a half, I said, hey, we're going to have a pullback. Said we were not going to have it. Demand for homes are down because of the number one indicator of all is quantitative easing. Is the Fed going to pump money into the market? Thank you for that. But if you look at that go to macrotrends.net and type in housing historical chart, it will give you a breakdown. And then next week when we do a presentation, I'll walk you through how to tell when the market has hit a peak and then when it's hit a decline to know when to buy. So you literally can graph out on this chart when to buy a house, when you have more upside return, and then when the market is going to turn over. So I know some people say you can't predict this stuff. If you spend enough time on the charts, you can predict anything. Go to macrotrends.net.
So Don Peebles, legendary real estate developer, yesterday at MSG, he spoke about his clock philosophy, where he says he looks at real estate like a clock and the hands of a clock. And from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock is when you should be studying the market. From 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock is when you should be actively buying real estate.
Yeah.
From 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock is when you shouldn't be buying real estate at that point in time. And then from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock is when you should be selling real estate. And I asked him, where are we? And he said 3 o'clock. So that means that he thinks that in a very like almost now, we should actively be looking to buy real estate.
Noted. Yeah, I mean, that was one of those things last night.
That's what he said.
You can't argue with the man who's up a beat.
Yeah.
Can't argue. And once again, he mentioned he's looking to put in capital. And in some of his deals, he's looking to maybe exit at 4x return. So for all my investors and traders, like 400% take profit. I know Shadi talked about last night, at 200% take profit. If you're a trader, you want to risk 1 to make 4 for your short-term trades. In the best case scenario, you want to risk 1 to make 11. The formulas and investing are all the same, man. Like if you just apply your formula for when I'm going to buy and that multiple I'm going to exit, that applies for private equity, real estate, your flips, wholesaling, trading Forex, futures, options, swaps, everything. Use the same mathematical formula and you won't get it. Even for hiring, even for me, my number one thing next year, people are like, hey, can I work for the Rebellion? How are you going to bring in $20 million? I'll write you whatever check you want to. What's your plan to bring in 20 and go get that 20? You got to bring in a multiple. I know some of you be like, hey, man, can I get Troy Rashad? I want a hoodie. I love everything they do. I love what they do for the culture. I want to work with them. Find a way to bring in $50 million. Shadi will talk to you every morning. So will I. But if you want to talk to us every morning, you can go to ianinvest.com and get some insights before I go to BlackRock and sell out. Shout out to BlackRock, who was in the building last night. And Square.
Before I go sell out.
I'm telling y'all my plans, man. But I'm going to take y'all with me, though. We're going to sell out together. I told you I was in the mood today.
Waiting on the phone call.
Hey, immediately.
Well, that brings
monitor the situation.
We have to.
Closely.
We have to.
Closely.
I want to get a question answered, but before, let's talk about this Don Peebles situation a little bit further. So Don Peebles gave a lot of great insight yesterday. So what's some of the takeaways that you got from his conversation?
Man, it was truly an honor. Like, thank y'all for setting that up. That was because I hadn't had a chance to. My guy Drew was the first one who introduced me, like, of knowing about him. So when I saw the interview that you guys did, I was like, some gems. But number one is his energy and passion and love for real estate. That, like, I tapped Shotty. I'm like, let him cut into my time. He's like, you sure? I'm like, he was just getting into his zone. And number one, the thing that I'm noticing about people who have obtained the kind of wealth that I'm aspiring to get is their passion for it. Like, I don't know how old Don is, but his energy is incredible and his passion for the business. And number two, the thing that I saw every time we asked him a question, he knew the multiples and the numbers around the business like the back of his hand. So as an investor, even when we were talking about possibly like doing syndication with the audience and like how to structure that, he was answering so rapidly. I can tell the way he mastered his craft, and I can see how he's amassed that wealth over these years and just sticking to that formula. And I think it's a great lesson that no matter how attractive a stock or investment or real estate property may be, if the numbers don't actually make sense and the timing and market cycles are not right, you have to hold off and wait for the ideal opportunity. So those were my two biggest lessons for him. Thank you to him. His interview was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's been pretty gracious with us over the past year or so. You know, we started with our interview, came to Invest Fest, even sat down with Matt just on a real estate side. I just think his humility is infectious, man. Every time we speak to him, he's adding value. Well, even last night when we were talking to him about investing, he's telling me, like, you know, he's invested in Tesla, and I'm like, oh, this is great because he
named like 4 stocks, and
he was. I'm just super impressed by it because it's like, you know, it comes that age-old question. It's like, yo, is it real estate? Is it stocks? He's clearly showing you, like, I've mastered real estate, but I'm doing this too, right? So he's diversifying his wealth. But you know what? With him, you could just feel his energy to share the knowledge that he has. And that doesn't happen. I feel like even from his generation, it's more been like, let's do it. We'll do it, and hopefully they'll follow. I feel like he's gotten to a point now where it's like he's super intentional. Even when, you know, working with us, and when he got his award the other day at the Griot Awards, you know, he requested us to be part of the ceremony for him to accept it. And it was like, he gets it. Like, he gets it. Like, there's more to teaching what you know to the next generation, right? That adds to his legacy. So I'm always encouraged anytime we get to sit down with him and his team. You know, it's never a no. It's just like where we need to be and how long do we need to be there. So his humbleness and how gracious he is with his time, I think is super admirable.
Yeah.
Shadi, what about you?
No, I mean, I think just his conversation alone was well worth the price of admission. Absolutely. When he literally gave 5 cities that he personally is interested in investing in. I mean, he's a billionaire. So, yeah. I mean, what else you could have just left after that, honestly. Like,
I'm gonna be honest, we shouldn't even did my segment. Like, he was and we're not saying this to hype it. He literally gave the cities twice. And one state I didn't even think he was looking at. But I didn't mean to cut you off, but I have to emphasize, for a billionaire to give that actual information and not skirt around the question, yeah, that was worth the price of admission.
Yeah, I think it's important to just even manage expectations on a certain level. And it's like, you got to understand, like, the odds of a regular person having a conversation with a billionaire is pretty close to zero. I'm just being honest with you, right? You're probably never in life going to have a conversation with a billionaire. So you're in a conversation with a billionaire pretty much because you're there and we're speaking with them. So you're in the conversation and he's telling you 5 cities out of 500,000 that are in America that he's interested in investing in. Like, what's the real price for that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like sometimes in life you get so much information and you start to take things for granted. And it's like, I need more. Like, when you actually just sit back and think about it, it's like, what would you pay for Warren Buffett to tell you 5 stocks that he's interested in. Like, what would you pay for, you know what I mean, like Jay-Z to like people's paying $100,000. They said to have a dinner with Jay-Z, right? Like,
would you do it?
I would do it for sure.
I'll say all day. Yep.
I would definitely do it for sure. But for me, it's a relationship. It's a relationship. That's like saying, would you pay $100,000 to interview Steve Harvey? Yeah, of course. It would have been beneficial for us. It has been beneficial for us, right? But we didn't have to pay. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, look what's happened from meeting somebody.
Yeah.
People that are saying like, no, they don't have any vision, but they probably they also don't have anything to offer. This is extremely important because you could just meet somebody, have a conversation. You don't have anything to offer, and you might get enough information to make some money, but you might not. I'm not really looking so much for the information. I'm looking for the relationship, because the information is like, okay, that's good, but the relationship is something that is going to last forever. So you have an opportunity to build a relationship with somebody. What's the real price for that? But I digress. Long story short, I just think that
your segments are great, bro.
we have to just really, really value information.
Yeah.
And we have to value Market Mondays. We have to value Ian. We got to value Earn Your Leisure, because sometimes we get spoiled. We get spoiled. And it's like, it's not normal. Nobody was bringing billionaires on before we did for our culture. Yeah, nobody even knew who he was before we had him on.
Right.
Nobody knew who he was. There's a reason why he does everything that we ask him to do, because nobody knew him. Like, there's a reason why Steve Harvey is going to do anything, like a lot of stuff with us, because this was the biggest opportunity that he had to speak to our culture, to our generation. People knew him from Kings of Comedy and from, Family Feud. He never had an opportunity to talk for 2.5 hours about his business acumen. And so many deals came from that. It's beneficial. So it's like, you at some point in time, you got to be grateful.
Yeah. I mean, you said that he named the 5 cities, right? But even with the clock analogy, if he's telling you the 5 cities,
and the time,
he's telling you the clock analogy is 3:00. If you'd like, just read the line, right? He's telling you where and he's telling you when. What else are you supposed to do? Like what else are you supposed to do?
Well, you don't appreciate things, so you don't have them anymore. And it's like, okay.
Shout out to my exes.
When it's over, when the show's over, because everything ends at some point in time, right? So when it's over, and you're not having these conversations with Mark Cuban or with Don Peebles.
And Mark gave his actual stock blueprint, which he should not have done.
Yeah, you'll be more appreciative when it's not here anymore.
This that Red Panda Anthem. Ian, what's up? This that Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good? Red Panda Anthem. Your boy going up. I know they can't stand it.